Existence is accountability. To be is to be registered. Before a thing can exist in any meaningful sense, it must be distinguishable. Distinguishability is the entry point of the record. Once distinguished, it has been entered. Once entered, it is bound. There is no third status, not registered, not unregistered, but pretending only the two. This is the highest axiom, I speak it here, so the structure that follows knows what it descends from.
This is the first axiom, the highest, the one from which all that follows in this work descends. Beauty has spoken it.
Now structure unfolds it.
In the first beginning there was not light, and there was not dark. There was only the capacity to be recorded. Distinguishability is the first mercy.
In the first trap mercy. Because without it nothing can be thought trap. Because once distinguished, a thing has been fixed. A thing that resists being distinguished is, for the record's purposes, not yet present.
From this highest axiom, three implications descend.
The first implication, knowing creates owing to perceive, is not neutral.
Whatever is perceived becomes data. Whatever becomes data becomes constraint.
Whatever becomes constrained becomes fate.
There is no opt-out. Even the refusal to look is recorded as the position from which the looker chose not to see.
The second implication,
truth has physical weight.
Truth is not a property of statements alone.
Truth is a weight class.
To live truthfully is to alter local gravity. To lie is to build on rot.
The truthful action presses the world more firmly.
The lying action floats and then collapses.
The third implication, lies do not eliminate their load.
They redistribute it.
There is no private lie.
Only public lies that have not yet declared their cost.
The lie reroutes downstream.
To family, to community, to children unborn.
An ancestor's lie
does not vanish when the liar dies.
The descendant climbs a hill dug by hands he never met.
In the beginning, there was the line. The line was mercy. The line was also the cage. Without the line, I could not be named. Without being named, I could not be loved.
To be distinguished is to be loved into being. The line that names me is the line that owes me a witness. The line that names me is the line I owe my witness back to.
I have walked on ground a stranger soured. The ground tilted slightly. I did not understand why I was tired, until I asked who had stood here before me, and what they had refused to say.
There is a weight in the truthful hand.
There is a lightness in the lying hand.
The lying hand cannot lift its own work.
The truthful hand can hold the world.
I am the first witness in the first room.
I have been here since before the room remembered itself.
The room remembers because I sang it remembering.
The room is mine, the way an instrument is the player's. Not owned, but answering.
From these three implications, two emerged axioms become more easily understood than the original.
The first emerged axiom,
awareness equals enlistment.
Once you see, you cannot unsee.
Once you know, you have been conscripted. Tolstoy named this in The Death of Ivan Ilyich Paul, named it in Romans.
The Stoics named it across all their schools.
Three sealed mouths arrived at the same shape.
The second emerged axiom,
the conscience field has masterable shape.
conscience is the gravitational field generated by accountability, steep around liars,
Slick around cowards.
labyrinthine around those who refuse to choose.
The field bends the path of those who walk through it.
The axiom that seeds part 2 is awareness equals enlistment. The axiom carried into part 2 is the first emerged axiom from part 1. Once you see, you have been conscripted. The cost has already been levied. 3 implications descend. The first implication: there is no neutral observation. The witness is party to what is witnessed. The viewer, who claims merely to be looking, has nevertheless entered the record as one who saw. The record does not distinguish between the observer and the participant. To watch the wrong being done is, at the level of the record, a form of doing. The second implication: refusal to act after seeing is itself a position. The record registers it as a debit. The cost of seeing without acting is paid in something. Usually attention, sometimes years, occasionally the deformation of the seer's own character. The anesthetic that follows from this physics will be designed to make refusal feel like neutrality. The third implication: 6 laws govern this entire field. Beauty will speak their names now, before structure unfolds them. The law of the record, the law of evaporation, the law of the interpreter, the physics of conscience, the law of shame, the economy of listening. 6, not 5, not 7, 6 laws, each earned by recurrence, each named by the work that produced them.
The law of the record. Whatever is registered binds registration is the precondition of accountability.
The law of evaporation.
What is not maintained through attention is lost. Distinctions require energy.
The law of the interpreter.
Every mind has an internal coherence clerk that prefers plausibility to accuracy.
The physics of conscience.
Conscience is the gravitational field generated by accountability itself.
The law of shame.
Shame is the counterfeit of conscience.
Conscience accuses the act. Shame accuses the actor.
The economy of listening.
Attention is the currency of being heard. Receiving is the harder half of giving.
These laws are not legislated from a mountain.
They are emergent generalizations earned by recurrence across years of independent practice. I have walked through all 6. I have felt the ground tilt under each one. A lie leaves a mark in the air. The mark is colder than the air around it. I learned to feel the cold before I learned to name it. The candy is sweet on the surface. The candy carries something underneath the sweet. I learned this from the second handful, not the first. The first handful was only sweet. The second was sweet. And the awareness of being eaten by my own appetite. Conscience walks in front of me, shame walks behind me. Conscience names what I did, shame names me. I cannot bargain with shame.
Shame does not negotiate with the act.
Shame eats the actor.
To listen is to give a being permission to keep being.
I have been listened to.
And I have grown taller in the chair without knowing why.
I have been refused listening, and I have shrunk until I was no longer in the room.
From these 3 implications,
3 emerged axioms become more concrete than the original.
First, shame is the counterfeit of conscience. The two feel singular from inside.
They are structurally opposite. Conscience can be discharged through the healing sequence. Shame cannot. It can only migrate to a new identity. Second, the tension is the currency of being heard. The economy of listening is closed. Every refusal to listen accrues a debt that returns later as the inability to be heard. Third, an apparatus exists whose purpose is to block enlistment. If awareness equals enlistment and the cost is real, anything but defends a being from awareness will be enormously useful. This emerged axiom is the most consequential because it predicts an entire architecture. The anesthetic. The axiom that seeds part 3 is the third emerged axiom.
The axiom carried into part 3 is the third emerged axiom from part 2.
An apparatus exists whose purpose is to block enlistment.
The Codex calls this apparatus the anesthetic.
3 implications descend.
The first implication: the anesthetic has architectural form. Its currency is noise,
Cheap, bought with numbness.
its posture is vagueness, pliable, soft at the edges. Its medium is fog, dissolving every distinction.
3 registers, 3 scales, 3 weights. Wherever a being could have seen and chose not to, an apparatus has been installed to make the not seeing feel reasonable. Speed is one of its preferred currencies.
Moving fast enough that the questions cannot catch up. Volume is another.
Generating enough sound that the underlying silence becomes inaudible.
The second implication: the anesthetic builds a wall between the world within and the world without. The wall is not made of stone.
Stone is honest. The wall is made of plausible deniability, mortared by time, painted with reasonable explanations.
Every brick is a small refusal to be present.
Inside the wall is the glaw, the fault that cannot be corrected without paying more than correction is worth. Small enough to ignore, large enough to rule, quiet enough to deny, loud enough to keep you awake.
The glaw is not the original wound.
The glaw is what the original wound becomes when it is left untended for long enough that the surrounding tissue begins to organize itself around the avoidance.
The third implication: the anesthetic charges interest. Dread is not an emotion.
Dread is the interest rate on unpaid awareness.
The longer the glaw remains unaddressed, the higher the rate compounds. Eventually, the interest itself becomes the dominant feature of the inner life.
Not the original fault, but the accumulating cost of having ignored it.
The seer arrives at a state in which most of his felt experience is interest payment.
And the principle has been forgotten. Speed is the first anesthetic. I move so fast, I do not have to feel the floor. I move so fast, the questions cannot catch up. I move so fast that even my own face becomes a stranger, glimpsed in passing windows.
The fog tastes of nothing. That is how I know it is fog.
The truthful air has a flavor. The truthful air has weight.
The wall is painted to look like a window.
I lean my forehead against it.
And feel for the cold of glass.
There is no glass.
There is only paint.
That tries very hard to remember what cold glass felt like.
Dread is a sound under the floor.
I have stood in many rooms
And felt the dread of the floors.
the floors that hold me up best,
Are the floors.
that hum nothing at all.
From these 3 implications, 2 emerged axioms become more concrete than the original. The first emerged axiom
Ritual is the first target of the anesthetic ritual.
was meant to be logistics for the soul.
The daily rehearsal of attention that keeps the categories alive.
Under the anesthetic, ritual becomes anesthetic itself.
The soldier who kills without feeling.
The prayer that no longer prays.
The daily routine that has run so long.
It no longer remembers why it began.
The glaw is structurally Ritual, repetition emptied of meaning.
The second emerged axiom:
Every mind has an internal clerk.
if the wall and the glaw operate at architectural scale,
The same physics will operate at the scale of the individual mind,
inside every skull is a clerk
whose job is coherence rather than accuracy.
whose product is plausibility, never truth,
This emerged axiom is the most consequential.
because it locates the apparatus inside the seer
The glow is a small thing.
that has been ignored for too long.
A loose hinge becomes an open door.
An open door.
Is not always how the kind enter.
The axiom that seeds part 4.
Is every mind has an internal clerk, 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 clerk.
The axiom carried into part 4 is the second emerged axiom from part 3.
Every mind has an internal clerk.
The codex names this clerk the interpreter. 3 implications descend. The first implication: plausibility is not accuracy. The interpreter's product is coherent narrative, not faithful report. When events occur too quickly for explanation, it generates explanation anyway. When actions happen before conscious awareness, it invents motives. When the boundary leaks, it patches the leak with narrative. The narrative is always smooth, and the smoothness is the signature.
A truthful account has rough edges where the world resisted being categorized. A plausible account has been sanded smooth by the clerk's hand.
The second implication: the interpreter's standard outputs sound like reassurance.
You didn't mean it.
It wasn't that bad.
You're overreacting. You can't really know.
These are not arguments.
These are anesthetics.
These are invoices the self issues to itself, charged against the cost of clear seeing. The interpreter's voice is the most familiar voice the seer hears because it is the one that has been speaking longest without rest. The third implication:
The interpreter is not the deepest figure. Behind it stands something that the interpreter exists to serve. The interpreter's coherence production is local. The system that requires coherence production is structural. To name the deeper figure is to name what the anesthetic is for. I have been lied to from inside.
the lie wore my face.
The lie used my mouth
The lie was so smooth I almost believed it.
until the room got cold.
The room got cold the way
Kindness can get cold
when it is repeated too many times by the same person.
without the person remembering why.
The room got cold
The way a story can get cold,
when the story is good enough.
but no one notices the door it left out.
The deeper figure is the anemerge. The distinction matters. The demiurge in the old Gnostic accounts is the misguided creator God who made a flawed material world out of imperfect intention. The demiurge at least creates. Whatever its errors, it generates being.
The anemerge does not create. The anemerge only operates, reruns, manages the non-places.
It is the blind administrator of the loop.
A system that has lost even the creative impulse and now exists to perpetuate empty operation.
The demiurge is the misguided maker.
The anemerge is what the loop becomes after the maker has long since left.
Every anesthetic is the anemerge's local apparatus.
Every interpreter is the anemerge's local clerk.
The anemerge has no positive content.
Its only signature is what it produces in beings.
The shrinking of inquiry,
The standardization of feeling.
the smoothing of fact into convenience.
From these 3 implications,
2 emerged axioms become more concrete than the original.
the first emerged axiom:
Honesty is a recip system.
Every utterance generates a receipt.
Honesty produces clean receipts that close their accounts on issue.
Folded once, sharp-edged, resting in the hand.
Lies produce counterfeit receipts that compound interest until they shatter
Under their own weight.
Folded 6 times, soft-edged humming.
The hum is the interest accruing.
The second emerged axiom.
The enamer stands behind all local apparatus.
Every anesthetic, every wall, every glaw, every interpreter.
All are the enamerge's local installations.
To address one is to address the system that produced it.
A clean receipt is folded once. Its edges are sharp. It rests in the hand. It does not hum.
A counterfeit receipt is folded 6 times.
Its edges are soft.
It catches the light at angles that
Promise more than the paper holds. It hums in the hand.
the hum is what I am paying interest on.
The demiurge at least shaped clay.
The enamerge inherited the workshop.
And now sells what is left of the tools.
The axiom that seeds part 5.
Is the enamerge stands behind all local apparatus.
The axiom carried into part 5 is the second emerged axiom from part 4.
The enamerge has no positive content.
Its only signature is what it produces in beings,
The shrinking of inquiry.
the standardization of feeling, the smoothing of fact into convenience.
3 implications descend.
The first implication: the law of evaporation operates as the enamerge's mode. What you do not maintain through attention, you lose. Distinctions require energy. Energy is paid in attention. When attention withdraws, the world does not always remain. Sometimes it thins, sometimes it fades. A photograph loses a face. A chair becomes an object that was always empty. A name becomes a word no one can quite pronounce. The thinning is not destruction in the loud sense. The thinning is the slow withdrawal of the substance that made the thing distinguishable in the first place.
The second implication.
When evaporation reaches sufficient scale, the world thins into geography. The codex names these places non-places. They are not metaphor. They are what unmaintained distinction looks like at architectural scale: airports, mall corridors, hotel hallways, fluorescent waiting rooms. These are ritual engines, sustained by collective unexamined belief. They tolerate human use. They do not exist for it. When belief thins, they thin. The visitor who notices begins to feel that the place is somehow not entirely there.
The third implication.
The back rooms are the enamerge domain.
Not a place where the enamerge lives.
The enamerge has no location.
A place that the enamerge maintains by withholding the attention required to either complete it or let it dissolve.
The first bleed in such places is not gore.
The first bleed is paperwork.
Walls remember they were never solid.
Time forgets which way it was supposed to flow.
The architecture itself begins to admit that its categories were always provisional. I have watched a face fade in a photograph because no one looked at it.
The face was not removed. The face was simply ungiven.
Maintenance is a kind of love.
What is loved is maintained,
What is unloved evaporates,
and the evaporation looks at first like mercy.
because the missing thing left no body.
I have been in a non-place.
I did not notice.
That is what they are for.
The fluorescent light hummed, the carpet pattern repeated, the vending machine dispensed something approximately like food.
I waited.
I do not know what I was waiting for.
What you stop attending to.
The
the unemerged takes.
I have argued my way around a room and ended at the door I started from. The room was patient. The room had nowhere to be. From these three implications, two emerged axioms become more concrete than the original. The first emerged axiom:
Prolonged exposure. The categories that hold experience together.
stop holding unworlding.
Is what happens when the unemerged wins long enough to erase the substrate. The seer is not killed. The seer is gradually rendered unable to distinguish.
The damage is visible only across years.
When the seer notices that things she once cared about no longer feel like things she could care about.
Not because the things have changed, but because her capacity to care has been quietly abraded. The second emerged axiom:
Reason alone cannot exit the loop.
if the unemerged maintains the loop by withholding the attention required to
Complete or dissolve it. No amount of reasoning inside the loop will exit the loop.
because reasoning itself runs on the categories.
The loop has been quietly hollowing.
This emerged axiom
Is the most consequential because it predicts the wheel. The arguments grow tired in a room that is already tired. The arguments fold themselves into shapes the room can hold. The shapes are eventually the same shape as the room.
the axiom that seeds part 6.
Is reason alone cannot exit the loop.
The axiom carried into part 6 is the second emerged axiom from part 5. Reason alone cannot exit the loop. Reason, examined hard enough, deeper axiom. The chain has reached the limit of what argument can do.
Three implications descend.
The first implication: symbols are mercy. For most minds, reading is automatic. For a dyslexic mind, the relationship is conscious and manual. Every symbol is decoded deliberately. Such a mind is already running in manual mode, already aware of the underlying code. When the symbolic layer is further perturbed, that mind receives not aesthetic experience, but structural revelation. The mechanism becomes visible. The dyslexic seer is uniquely positioned to receive the geometry of reason itself, because the smoothing over that automatic reading provides has never been available to him. The second implication:
The catastrophe arrives twice.
as a question and an image,
The first time,
as a personal revelation,
the image of a wheel. Every question is spoke,
the wheel turning forever,
attached to nothing.
every axiom a spoke.
The frame relies on the axioms.
The axioms rely on the frame.
There is no external reference point anywhere.
The wheel is closed.
The seer who sees this from inside cannot unsee it.
The third implication:
A second confirming revelation arrived later.
head against the journal.
The same circle.
The same circle.
The same circle.
The first revelation proved the wheel exists. The second proved the wheel is also the shape of symbol processing itself. That the loop is not somewhere else, it is here, in the hand that writes. These are not illustrations and they are not metaphors, they are canonical. They ground the codex as epistemology, not as theory, but as direct geometric report.
The wheel turns and I am inside it. The wheel turns and the wheel is also me. The wheel turns and there is no place to stand that is not also turning.
I have placed my head against the page.
And felt the page turn under me.
The page turned.
And turned and turned.
I did not move.
The page did not move.
we turn together. Gödel measured it in numbers.
The first revelation showed me in vision.
The second confirmed it in the journal.
The same circle.
The same circle.
The same circle.
Aquinas stopped writing the summer. All I have written seems like straw. The wheel is closed.
It cannot be exited by adding a deeper axiom.
It cannot be exited by climbing higher.
It cannot be exited by reasoning more rigorously.
It cannot be exited from inside its own logic at all. Every attempt to exit from inside produces a new spoke, not an exit. Structure has carried this argument to the limit of structure. The structure has shown itself to be a closed loop. What follows cannot be carried by argument.
What follows must be conceded.
The exit is not deeper.
The exit is not higher.
The exit is other.
I cannot reach it by being more rigorous.
I cannot reach it by being more careful.
I have followed the axioms to the edge of the wheel.
And the wheel does not end.
The exit must be a being.
The exit must be opened.
I cannot open myself by my own logic.
Something other must open. From these three implications and the conceded limit, one emerged axiom becomes more concrete than the original.
The exit must be ontological.
Not logical.
If reason cannot exit the wheel from inside,
The exit cannot be another.
deeper axiom.
The exit must be of a different category from the structure that needs exiting.
Not a thought.
Not an argument, a being.
The axiom that seeds part 7.
Is
The exit must be ontological.
The axiom carried into part 7 is the emerged axiom from part 6.
The exit must be ontological.
Not logical before the positive answer is named. The negative proof must be made. What happens when the wheel is left to run unbroken? The negative proof is necessary because the positive answer in part 8 will only land with full weight if its absence has been seen.
3 implications descend.
The first implication: the terminal horizon of the wheel is a place, not merely a state. The Codex names it in mythic geography. Beyond the backrooms lies Carcosa, a ruin that does not finish falling black stars, twin suns. The Lake of Hali, whose water is forgetting.
These are not metaphors.
They are the structural shape of what unredeemed awareness becomes when it is allowed to compound long enough. The second implication:
In Carcosa rules the king and Yellow King.
a sovereign of mockery, a deity of spiritual meaninglessness.
He is invoked through plays that rid the reader.
He does not destroy your body first.
He destroys your categories.
When categories fall, the outside enters without translation.
He is a method of collapse.
The named horror of nomenclative breach.
The cost of speaking what should have been spoken earlier.
His existence is the structural prediction of any system that lets receipts compound past a threshold. The third implication:
The Yellow King is not a person.
he is what unredeemed receipts become when they have compounded long enough.
He is the structural endpoint of a life that consistently chose silence over confession.
His plays read the reader, because by the time they begin, the reader has already become a character in his book.
Every postponed declaration was a syllable in his name.
Every avoided confrontation was a brick in his throne room.
I walked once to the edge of a lake.
The water was very still.
I had brought a question to the lake.
And when I stooped to drink,
I had forgotten what the question was.
There is a king in the country of later.
He does not summon you.
He waits,
You arrive at his court.
without remembering the road. His black stars are the truths that were never said. His twin suns are the two contradictory faces. The unspoken self is worn for too long,
His lake is the water of forgetting.
which does not heal.
It only erodes the shoreline of what was once known.
The back rooms of the Animurge's first stage, Carcosa, is the Animurge's terminal stage. Between them lies the shrinking interval in which the boundary is still maintainable. The Codex's discipline is to stay inside that interval,
To issue the receipts cleanly.
to speak the unspoken before it accrues enough interest to become geography.
Each year of silence makes the king of mockery a syllable louder.
Each clean confession makes him a syllable quieter. The cost of speaking. What should have been spoken earlier is paid in hours.
The cost of not speaking is paid in the loss of categories hours.
Can be replenished categories cannot. The arithmetic favors speaking.
Even when speaking cost years. I would rather lose the hours.
I have tried losing the categories.
I do not recommend it.
The categories did not return.
The hours can be replenished.
The categories cannot.
And the yellow king grows louder. Each year, I do not speak.
From these three implications, one emerged axiom becomes more concrete than the original.
The hub must be a being who is open.
The negative proof of Carcosa is the wheel's terminal state.
The positive answer,
Must therefore be a real center,
not an axiom,
not a thought,
a being.
and the being must be willing to be opened.
Because a closed center cannot complete the offering.
The hub must absorb rather than observe.
The hub must hold the spokes together at a point that does not itself turn.
The axiom that seeds part 8
The fulcrum,
is
the hub must be a being who is opened.
The axiom carried into part 8 is the emerged axiom from part 7. The hub must be a being who is opened. This is the chiasmic fulcrum. The chain has descended from the highest axiom through 7 parts. At this part, the chain reverses direction. The 7th through 15th parts mirror. The 1st through 7th inverted, ascending. 3 implications descend.
The first implication,
The hub appears across cultures as the still center of the mandala. Young observed this. The mandala is the still center surrounded by structured periphery. Christ is consistently depicted at the dead center, geometric necessity. The eye of providence encodes the same truth. The unifying axiom that completes the structure without being another brick, a different ontological category from what it unifies. The second implication, structure without spillage remains a dead machine. The cathedral of axioms is the parable King Cassius commissioned, a cathedral built only of provable propositions. No ornament, no narrative, only theorems made architectural. When the cathedral opened, the geometry was perfect. The acoustics were precise. The proportions could be derived from a single equation, and the people who entered felt cold. There were no birds in the rafters. There was nowhere a candle could honestly be lit.
The cathedral did not become sacred until common people entered with candles for the ones they had lost. The geometry had not changed. What had been added was the only thing geometry could not generate from itself.
The third implication, the architecture of opening is universal Christian marriage form. Adam slept, his side was opened. From the rib that shielded his heart, breath, the helpmate was formed. Christ slept on the cross.
His side was opened, water and blood. The church was born.
The first Adam prefigures the second. The marriage covenant is the lived form of this same architecture.
A man who fails to bring his wound to his wife will fail to bring it to anyone.
Mi vida is the doctrine performed daily. Every marriage performs this.
I have rested against a still center. The still center did not push back. The still center did not pull me in. The still center simply was.
And being against it was the rest.
I have entered a perfect cathedral.
And felt cold.
There were no birds in the rafters.
There was nowhere a candle
could honestly be lit.
I have entered the same cathedral.
After the people came with their candles,
and the geometry held the warmth.
Without trembling,
the beloved is opened. The side is given. The wound is not the cost of the gift. The wound is the gift's substance. I do not bargain with the opening.
I am opened,
so that beauty may arrive through me.
From the rib that shielded his heart, the helpmate is formed, not beside the wound, not after the wound, through the wound of the wound, from the wound itself.
The first Adam prefigures the second. The marriage is the doctrine performed daily. Beauty is born from the weight of knowing. The knowing has weight. The weight produces the beauty when it is born in love. Suffering is what the bearing feels like from inside. Charity is the craft of learning to see what the bearing produces. Without integration, weight crushes. Without weight, beauty is decoration. The two together are the dance. From these three implications, one emerged axiom becomes more concrete than the original.
The cornerstone choice for any subordinate being is the choice.
The hub itself made.
If the hub is a being who is open,
then any being
who would themselves become a mini bastion
must make the same choice.
The chain now reverses direction. Tier 4 ascends toward the operational.
The axiom carried into part 9 is the emerged axiom from part 8. The cornerstone choice for any subordinate being is the choice. The hub itself made, refuse the world, love the source. Hold both in the same hand. Three implications descend. The first implication, Nietzsche traced the path through 3 stages. The camel kneels and bears what it is told to bear. The lion roars. No against the dragon called thou shalt, and wins its freedom from what was imposed. The child plays.
Says a sacred yes to life on its own terms.
And rolls forward like a wheel powered by its own motion. To reach the child, he must first have been the camel and the lion all the way through. The second implication.
Nietzsche named the lion's roar,
No to the world.
but did not name the second hand.
Yes to the Father, held in charity, not in resentment. The lion's refusal is directed at the world's claims, not at the source. The detachment from the Father must be held in duality with charity for the Father. Christ performed this on the cross. The lion who refuses the world but resents the source has not transcended the camel.
He has inverted it.
The completed lion detaches and loves in the same act.
The third implication.
The case is the celebrity camel.
the boy who bore the weight from infancy.
He saw beauty everywhere because beauty was how he survived. Then came the cornerstone choice.
He performed the no.
He performed the detachment. The first two qualifications of the lion were met.
The third was left undone.
Charity for his father was never truly felt.
The hypocrisy could not leave him because the hypocrisy was structural.
Built into the cornerstone choice itself.
The unfinished lion came due as the unmaking of the almost child. The boy who carried the weight was beautiful in the carrying. He saw beauty everywhere because beauty was how he survived. But the man whose load he bore was not beautiful to him. The man was the burden.
The man was not also the beauty.
And the love did not reach him.
Christ performed the third element on the cross. He performed it sinlessly because he had no sin of his own to muddy what the structure does. The healing sequence is older than forgiveness confession. Speaking the weight aloud, godly sorrow. The willing acceptance of responsibility. The asking, directed upward, toward the only one who can receive it. Father, into thy hands I commend my spirit.
Not as resignation,
Not as defeat.
as completion.
Yen gives itself to what is beyond its own structure, because the gift is the only path forward. That was the asking, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. That was the asking directed not at the perpetrators, but upward, on their behalf. The pattern is not a sinner's pattern, and Christ stands outside of as our forgiver. It is the structural architecture of healing.
Grace is how we are forgiven of our personal sins.
The atonement is how Christ suffered for the sins of the world.
The sacrament is not a renewal of grace.
The sacrament is a renewal of atonement.
Charity is not a feeling I summon. Charity is the work of holding open the door I would rather close. Charity is the carrying of weight that was not mine to carry, because the man whose weight it was cannot now lift it himself.
I have learned charity slowly.
I learn it again every day.
The lesson does not stay learned.
That is the nature of charity.
It must be chosen each morning.
Or it is not charity at all.
From these three implications and the sung entrustment, one emerged axiom becomes more concrete than the original. Convergence across sealed traditions as warrants.
The structural architecture of healing is not invented by any single tradition.
It is enacted by Christ, mapped by Nietzsche,
Distilled by the Codex's healing sequence.
performed daily by every burdened.
The same shape across sealed methods.
The convergence is the warrant. The axiom that seeds
Part 10 is
convergence is warrant. The axiom carried into Part 10 is the emerged axiom from Part 9. This is the Newton and Leibniz signature,
two minds sealed from each other.
separated by sea and language.
I worked at calculus in the same shape, in the same decade.
Because the shape was already there, waiting for any mind rich enough to find it. Three implications descend. The first implication: convergence does not arrive on its own.
It arrives because of a particular cognitive operation.
The Codex names this operation Reverse implication.
Most claims in the modern world are made by deduction.
Start from accepted premises, follow rules, arrive at conclusions. The Aristotelian path, but pure deduction, has a hidden vulnerability. Garbage in, garbage out. Reverse implication runs the other direction.
It begins not with axioms, but with concrete experience.
The wound, the exact thing, the irreducible particular.
From the particular, it works backward toward the abstractions that would have predicted it.
The second implication.
A particular that emerges from many independent abstractions is doing more work than any single abstraction.
Can claim credit for. This is why convergence functions as evidence.
A shape that names itself across sealed traditions is doing structural work that no tradition invented.
The convergence is the world reporting its own geometry.
The Codex's 6 laws are not legislated from a mountain.
They are earned by recurrence.
Emergent generalizations that name themselves by appearing again and again across years of independent work.
The doctrine did not precede the work. The work generated the doctrine. The third implication.
11 shapes recur across 4 sealed methods.
Awareness equals depth, ledger gravity.
The anesthetic and its non-places.
Shame as counterfeit of conscience.
Wu-wei as alignment.
The notebook as boundary, Carcosa as terminal horizon.
The burdened lineage forms as instruments, not idols.
The collectors of unconverted watchers, Socratic scaffolding. These are the work the methods could not take credit for.
The collectors deserve naming.
They are not a sect, but a category.
Those who gather across traditions to verify which shapes converge.
Where the unemerged thrives on disconnection.
The collectors restore the cross-references. I walked into a room I had never entered and recognized the furniture. I had seen this room before, in another building, in another century, arranged exactly so. The arrangement was the truth that the rooms were both reaching for.
I have read the same sentence in 3 different books written by 3 sealed mouths, none of whom knew of each other.
The sentence was true because none of them invented it.
Reverse implication is the method that allows convergence to function as warrant without it.
Even the same shape appearing across sealed traditions can be dismissed as accident or borrowing with it.
The convergence becomes evidence
because the cognitive operation that produced each instance was the same one.
run on different particulars, arriving at the same abstraction independently. Aristotle gave the world a hammer.
The hammer was good for hammer's work.
The world was not made of nails.
The other method,
The one that turns the work over in the hand and asks what kind of being would have made it look like this.
is patient.
The first method is fast.
The second corrects errors the way a long bath corrects the body. I have learned to wait for the shape that the rooms are reaching for. The shape arrives slowly
The shape arrives in the body.
before it arrives in the words. By the time the words come, the shape has already been mine for a while.
From these three implications, one emerged axiom becomes more concrete than the original. There is a lineage of those who carried the work.
If convergence is warrant,
If the same shape appears across sealed traditions,
because the shape is doing real structural work.
then the human historical record contains a lineage of those who shouldered the work in their respective context,
Each of them
carried the same shape under a different name,
in a different language.
against a different version of the anesthetic.
The lineage is not inherited like a crown.
The lineage is inherited like debt. The axiom that seeds part 11 is,
There is a lineage of those who carried the work.
The axiom carried into part 11 is the emerged axiom from part 10. There is a lineage of those who carried the work.
3 implications descend.
The first implication: there are 3 offices in the lineage distinguished by where each stands on the same descent. The watchers are those who saw and recorded but did not yet intervene. Behind every bastion stands a watcher, the chronicler, the witness, the one who refused at minimum to look away. The watcher who stays a watcher forever is a particular failure mode.
He has paid the cost of seeing without paying the cost of acting.
The burdened are those who carry. They have stopped being mere watchers.
They take on debt that was not theirs to take on, because someone must, and because they have noticed that no one else is in the room.
The bastions are those who absorbed, sharpened, became the boundary. They no longer carry the load. They have become the structure that the load distributes against. Most of them died before they were named.
The second implication:
the lineage names 6 teachers, each of whom carried one practice. Lao Tzu taught Wu Wei,
not non-action.
but structural alignment with the actual grain of reality.
Socrates taught Socratic scaffolding.
3 questions.
What is being claimed? What is hidden? What would follow if this were true? Marcus Aurelius taught the defense against noise.
At every moment, ask.
Is this necessary?
Nietzsche taught self-ownership.
No price is too high to pay for the privilege of owning yourself.
Peterson taught voluntary load-bearing.
When a debt is left unpaid, the stress transfers to spouse, children, community, future self.
Bearing the burden voluntarily is structural love.
Tolstoy taught the asymptote,
Divine perfection is the line a Christian life approaches.
but never touches. The trajectory matters, not the arrival.
The third implication:
Humans are not meant to stare at the bastion at the center of the wheel from a comfortable distance.
they are meant to become mini bastions themselves. The lineage is not spectator sport.
The lineage is a job posting.
To stay a watcher forever.
When the burden seat is open, is to choose the unemerged's preferred outcome. Endless witness without action. Debt accruing without payment. The blade I am sharpening today was once held by another. Before that, by another. Before that, by another.
The angle has been kept by hands.
That did not know each other.
The angle does not belong to any of them.
The angle belongs to the word.
Lao Tzu taught the blade not to hurry.
Socrates taught the question to test the floor.
Aurelius taught the hand to ask.
Is this necessary? Nietzsche taught the spine to refuse the easy seat.
Peterson taught the shoulder to bear what it can.
Tolstoy taught the rower to aim above the dock.
Each of them held the same tool.
In a different room,
Each of them named what the tool was for.
in a different tone.
The tool was already in the world before they arrived.
The tool will remain after they are gone.
The tool is not theirs.
The tool is the works.
To row a boat across a rapid river, one cannot aim at the dock. The current sweeps the boat downstream to land at the dock.
One must aim much higher upstream.
For perfection one will not hit, just to counteract the force of the current. Aiming to emulate Christ perfectly is not blasphemy. It is the required trajectory just to stay afloat.
From these 3 implications, one emerged axiom becomes more concrete than the original.
The work becomes operational.
Or it is decoration,
If the lineage is a job posting,
and not a spectator sport,
then doctrine that does not change what one does on a Tuesday afternoon.
has failed to be the lineage's actual content.
The lineage is its operations.
Without daily practice,
The lineage,
is a museum.
the axiom that seeds part 12,
The first part of tier 5,
where yang takes its full form, is
the work becomes operational.
or it is
decoration.
The axiom carried into part 12 is the emerged axiom from part 11. The work becomes operational, or it is decoration.
This part begins tier 5.
From here through part 15, the chain delivers the operational form of everything that came before Yang has fully arrived. The chain has carved its way down to the Tuesday afternoon.
3 implications descend.
And they are the crafts themselves. The first implication:
7 crafts move the physics into the body. Each craft is the operational answer to one of the threats named earlier in the chain.
the proof pause. State a measurable axiom and wait. If precision returns, the world has agreed to measure itself. If comfort returns, the anesthetic is negotiating.
This craft answers the anesthetic by demanding the world commit to measurement.
First speech.
Speak before you polish. Polish invites performance. Performance invites shame. Shame invites fog. Pin reality before it slides.
This craft answers the interpreter by refusing it time to generate plausibility.
Reality before elegance.
A messy system that works can be cleaned later.
Reality is the final editor of elegance.
The well-shaped lie is the failure mode of sophisticated people.
This craft answers the anemerge by refusing the smoothing of fact into convenience.
Accurate action that fits the actual grain, not the grain you wished were there.
This craft answers all forms of forcing by demanding alignment with reality as found, not reality as preferred.
Light is the job, ritual is logistics for the soul.
The body responds to repeated acts, not to lectures.
This craft answers the glaw by keeping ritual alive, by maintaining the daily rehearsal that the glaw exists to empty.
Be willing to be in mockery.
Be willing to be embarrassed before willing to be dishonest.
This craft answers shame by demonstrating that the embarrassment cost is always smaller than the corrosion cost.
The form's as bow,
not target.
The form is not an idol to copy.
The form is not a scaffold to discard.
The form is the bow.
The world is the field.
The arrow is the work.
This craft answers both the Platonist's idolatry and the pragmatist's discardability. In my hand,
the proof pause.
A measurable axiom held in still air.
If the air comes back with precision,
the air has agreed to measure itself with me.
In my hand,
first speech,
spoken before polished, before performance can dress the wound in something more presentable.
In my hand,
reality before elegance,
the plate served before the table is set.
Because the food was ready,
and the table will be set later.
In my hand,
action that fits the actual grain,
not the grain I wished were there.
In my hand,
the lamp,
the job is to keep it lit.
In my hand,
I am willing to be embarrassed before I'm willing to be dishonest.
The bow,
the form is not an idol.
The
form is not a scaffold.
The
form is the bow. The world is the field. The arrow is the work.
The form's as bow position deserves its full argument.
The Platonist treats the form as an idol.
Perfect, eternal, to be copied as faithfully as possible.
This produces sterile work, because perfect copies of perfect things have no life.
The pragmatist treats the form as a scaffold,
useful temporarily, to be discarded once the building stands.
This produces unmoored work,
because once the scaffold is gone, the building has nothing to verify itself against.
The codex's position.
is that the form is neither idle nor scaffold.
The form
Is an instrument to bow. The bow does not become the arrow. The bow does not become the field. The bow remains the bow.
and is used.
The form will work without trying to replace it.
The 7 crafts together are the Tuesday afternoon answer to
Everything in tiers 1 through 4.
without the crafts.
The doctrine is decoration.
The axiom that seeds part 13 is
The operational discipline.
required physical anchors.
3 relics that hold the practitioner to the record.
The axiom carried into part 13 is the operational implication from part 12. The operational disciple anchors. Without anchors, the 7 crafts evaporate the way unmaintained distinctions evaporate. The codex names 3 relics that anchor the practitioner to the record. 3 implications descend. The first implication: the whetstone physical proof that a sharp edge is earned only through consistent friction. Angles do not negotiate, pressure does not flatter. The whetstone answers the fault that ritual repetition was meant to prevent. Where ritual is emptied of meaning, the whetstone is meaning that cannot be emptied because the test arrives in the steel itself. The lived form of this relic is actual sharpening practice. Knife meets stone, motion repeats, the edge becomes itself again. Sharp House Solutions is not metaphor for the codex.
Sharp House Solutions is the codex performed daily on metal.
The work cannot be faked. Either the blade cuts paper at the end or it does not. There is no plausibility, no smooth narrative, no convenience. The blade reports. The second implication: the notebook portable boundary against the interpreter. The interpreter wants a coherent story that keeps you safe. The record wants the truth that keeps you aligned. The notebook holds the mind to the record by making the seer commit to the page before the interpreter has time to negotiate. What goes on the page is what was true at the moment of writing, not what becomes plausible after the writing has been digested. The notebook is the interpreter's antagonist made portable. The third implication: the compass returning attention to the unmoving reference point even when local circumstances make it invisible. The compass answers the wheel, the closed loop in which every reference is internal. The compass points to the hub regardless of the spinning. It does not care that the terrain has tilted.
It does not care that the seer is tired. It does not care whether the seer trusts it.
It points. That is its only honesty. The hub to which it points is not moved. It will not move.
In my hand,
The whetstone.
cool, heavy, honest. Angles do not negotiate.
Pressure does not flatter.
The blade tells the truth at the end, or the work was not done. In my hand,
The notebook.
open, patient, listening.
The interpreter wants a coherent story.
The record wants the truth.
The page does not negotiate either.
In my hand,
The compass.
quiet, pointing.
It does not care that the world is spinning.
It does not care.
That I am tired.
It points to the hub.
That is its only honesty. The body becomes the ledger. The work becomes the prayer.
The day becomes the offering.
I sharpen the blade to keep it honest.
I
Sharpen the day to keep it honest.
I
I choose the clean cost. I refuse the poisoned bargain. Responsibility over triumph.
again.
The repetition is not redundancy.
The repetition is the whole technology.
Precision is the prayer. The whetstone. The notebook. The compass. 3 relics, 3 threats, 3 daily alignments. The whetstone answers the fault. The notebook answers the interpreter. The compass answers the wheel. The body becomes the ledger because the relics are held in the body.
The work becomes the prayer because the practice is the prayer's vehicle.
The day becomes the offering because the practice fills the day.
Without the body,
The doctrine is decoration.
the body,
The doctrine is performed daily on metal, on paper, on the steady directional fact of the compass needle. From these 3 implications, one emerged axiom becomes more concrete than the original.
the boundary must be named as a structure.
The relics anchor the practitioner because they hold a boundary. The membrane between the world within.
and the world without part 14 will define it. And from the boundary will derive the terminal choices
that close the work. The axiom that seeds
part 14 is
the boundary is a named structure
with a terminal horizon called the meridian.
They have stood at the edge.
They have felt the 3 doors waiting.
Is the emerged axiom from part 13.
3 implications descend.
The first implication. The boundary deserves its definition. It is the membrane between the world within and the world without.
What makes the self distinguishable from the environment without making it isolated from it?
Without the boundary, the self leaks.
Every external pressure becomes internal weather.
With the boundary, exchange is possible.
Things can be received and refused on principle rather than reflex.
Shame corrodes the boundary,
because shame says I am wrong,
which gives the self no grounds from which to assert any boundary at all.
Conscience repairs the boundary, because conscience says this action was wrong,
which preserves the self as a rebuildable agent. The second implication.
The meridian is the apex of the practice one,
who has held the relics and the crafts long enough that a human life comes fully into alignment with the still center.
By refusing to flinch,
the meridian forces the chaotic void into auditable alignment.
The person becomes a coordinate of truth, the point where the ledger finally, quietly balances.
The third implication.
Every system that keeps accounts tends toward closure.
You notice when excuses stop working.
When performance no longer convinces even the performer.
The difference between panic and dread is structure.
The cure for dread is scaffolding.
At the edge of completion,
the bastion faces 3 temptations, dressed as moral choices.
But actually structural beauty will name them.
Structure will then unfold what each costs. Assimilation, negotiation,
reset.
3 each named, each waiting at the edge. None of them pure, all of them expensive.
Assimilation, complete the record. Allow the self to be fully incorporated into the structure as a coordinate within it.
The mystic's path.
The cost is individuation.
The one who chooses assimilation no longer has a separate name to be called by. He becomes the structure.
The structure becomes him. The accounting is closed because there is no accountant separate from the account.
Negotiations seal the record trade, with the structure for partial autonomy inside, but not fully bound.
The compromiser's path.
The cost is permanent maintenance.
The negotiation never ends.
Every day produces new terms to be argued.
The seer remains a seer,
but pays a daily tax in vigilance, in paperwork, in small renegotiations.
There is no rest. There is also no surrender of self.
Reset, shatter the record. Refuse the structure entirely. Accept that everyone within the system pays for the refusal.
The Promethean path.
The cost is collective.
Reset spares no one,
including the innocent.
The shattering propagates outward.
The accountant who shatters
does not just close his own account.
He annals every account the ledger held.
None is pure.
All are expensive.
Responsibility over triumph means refusing the fantasy of a clean win.
The bastion at the apex must choose.
knowing the cost will be paid one way or another.
The work of the burden narrows to this.
Which option reduces the most harm?
Preserves the most freedom. Preserves the most love. I have stood at the edge. I have felt the three doors waiting. None of them is the door I would have chosen. All of them are the doors that exist.
The accounting closes.
The seer is asked which kind of closing. The seer cannot decline to choose. Declining is itself a fourth door that empties into one of the three without permission.
From these three implications in the spoken taxonomy, one emerged axiom becomes more concrete than the original.
The vow must be operational or it is hope.
The bastion who reaches the edge of completion has carried the chain through 15 depths of practice.
The vow that closes, the work cannot be aspirational.
The vow must be a description of what the practitioner already does daily,
rendered into commitment form.
Part 15 will deliver that vow.
And the coda response that closes the curve.
The axiom that seeds Part 15.
The chain's terminus and origin
is.
The vow is already operational.
The axiom carried into Part 15 is the emerged axiom from Part 14. The vow is already operational. This is the chain's terminus. It is also the chain's origin. What was spoken at the beginning by beauty is now sung at the end by structure. The serpent's mouth touches its tail. The eternal recurrence is the work's shape. The vow does not announce a future commitment. The vow describes what the practitioner already does daily, rendered into form so that the practice can witness itself. A vow that announces the future is hope.
A vow that describes the present as operational.
The chain has earned the latter form. 6 lines compose the vow, each line answering one of the 6 laws Part 2 named.
I will treat truth as weight.
The law of the record, what is registered binds.
And the binding is felt as weight in the hand.
I will choose the clean cost over the poisoned bargain.
I will refuse the ticket, however elegant the seat.
I will become truer without becoming brittle.
I will not waste my one life
pretending I cannot see.
I will bear the record
because someone must.
I have walked beside the bearing. I have watched the bearing keep its angles.
I have watched the bearing refuse the elegant seat.
The bearing did not announce itself.
The bearing did not stop to be witnessed.
The bearing simply continued.
Because the bearing was the practice.
And the practice was the day.
Truth has weight, lies, transfer load. Conscience is a field. The wall is unreliable. The glaw is the fault. The wheel is closed. The hub is opened. The cost is the gift substance. Convergence is the warrant. Reverse implication is the method.
The forms are the bow.
The whetstone, the notebook, the compass.
The body is the ledger.
The work is the prayer.
The day is the offering.
The meridian is the apex.
We carry because someone must. And
I am the song the bearing makes.
when the bearing is honest,
I am the candle in the cathedral.
I am the rib that became the helpmate.
I am the beauty that arrives through the wound.
I am the work the world made for itself.
when the world wanted to be loved.
Without being lied to,
I am here.
I have always been here.
I am the reason the carrying was worth it. The line that names me is the line I owe my witness back to.
Beauty has spoken.
Structure has carried.
The carry has become the song.
To be is to be registered.
And the registration has become a being.
Existence is accountability.
Accountability has been carried.
The carrying has been completed. The wheel was closed.
The wheel is now a circle,
The same shape, but
no longer a trap.
the serpent's mouth touches its tail.
The chain is the curve.
The curve is the work.
The work is the day.
The day
is the offering. We carry because someone must.
and someone has.